Welcome back. Tonight we're going to be working on the rear end on an Allis WD, and we're going to be pulling that out. So if that's something that you're interested in seeing, stick around because it's coming up. Alright, so if you've been watching my video series, you've seen the torque tube come off, the bell housing, both the axles. And so basically the only thing I'm left with now is the rear housing that will contain obviously the rear end and then our transmission. So I've got noise in the bearings, so I've got two new bearings for the rear axle, and I've also got two new seals. So in order to replace those, you have to pull out your carrier bearing carrier right here. So we'll go ahead and pull that off of both sides, and then basically once those are out, the rear end itself will just drop right out. So right here is the inside of that, and likewise back in here. So we'll pull both of those off at the same time. I'll keep track of my shims, and then I'll pull the whole rear end out of there too. I know the left side right here is in pretty good shape, but this ring gear right here gets tight in certain places. So I want to inspect the input shaft that's running to the transmission, which is on the back side of this. So that's the main reason for me actually pulling the rear end out. I want to look at that. I want to check everything out very well before I put this thing back together, so I've got a lot of hours involved. So to get started, we'll just set up on either side. We're going to pull these, I think there's 6. Yep, we'll pull those 6 bolts out. I'm going to clean this mess up first and scrape some junk out of there. We'll pull those out this side, and then we'll do the other side carefully. The rear end will drop down, and then we can pull it right out of that rear housing. So let's get started. I'm just going to start on this left side. Really what I need to do is kind of lift up on that rear end right here. All I want to do is just kind of hold some pressure. That side out. Got one shim. So there's your bearing on the end of your axle. Now this thing may just come out. I'm not sure here. Once I let my weight off of this thing. So here's the other cap, and I think I've got one shim. Yeah, I've got one shim on it as well. So I want to keep track of which side is which. I don't think it matters, but I'm going to keep track for right now. I know it matters on a 190, depending on what rear end you got. So get that back out of the way for right now. And basically this rear end, we can just slide it to us and it'll just barely fit. And it just barely fits right out of that space. Alright, so that concludes the video of the rear end removal from the rear housing. Next we'll be looking into the transmission and the input shaft now that we have access to it. So stick around and continue watching the videos on this Allis Chalmers WD restoration. Please hit like and subscribe, share the video. Have a good day.